Y'all are awesome. Who's tired of winning? Look, this is a gathering I look forward to coming to every year. It's a real pleasure to walk into this room and see you and with what you're doing, what you've done, not just this week, but also what you're going to do the rest of your lives. And I thought that's what I would really focus on, because as a few of you in this audience know, before I was president of the Heritage Foundation, I led Wyoming Catholic College, and one of the things that we did is go to the West Coast Walk for Life in San Francisco, and I've never seen protesters on behalf of a really ridiculous, evil practice like I've seen there. But now you, who are high school and college students, of course, have to deal with that every day in your own classrooms. It's one of the things that Heritage is trying to change. But then, before that, started a school in Lafayette, Louisiana, which isn't supposed to have snow, but has 10 inches of snow on the ground. And it prevented, that winter weather prevented a lot of those students from John Paul the Great Academy from being up here. But I saw a huge contingent of Louisianans in the march yesterday. I've been to about 15 marches. I just want all of you, for yourselves, for your family members, for people who wanted to be here but couldn't, to give yourselves a round of applause. You're great. From Seth Gruber, Isabel Brown, the incredible Kaylee McEnany, who are fighting for life online and on air, the pro-life movement is alive and well. To the great folks at Students for Life of America, the American Principles Project, Catholic Vote, who helped craft important pro-life and pro-family policies. And of course, none of this would be possible without you, without teachers and principals of schools who bring hundreds of thousands of young people here. It wouldn't be possible without churches coming here from nearby and from afar. And of course, I want to single out one person in particular whose arrival in the pro-life movement has been important as a personal witness, but also in getting millions of pro-life voters to the ballot box. Someone who just received an award, my friend Charlie Kirk, deserves another round of applause. Look, I'm proud to be among you. My wife and 4 kids and I did the march again yesterday. My expectations for the march are always very high because it is, as you know, just dominated by people your age. It's something that the lamestream media doesn't want you to know. But of course, it's true. Yeah, you like that, huh? I don't think I'm, as president of the Heritage Foundation, supposed to say that, but I do say it a lot. And when they tried to take us out last year because we had this notion that any president of the United States should be well prepared to take office with pro-life policies, and we withstood that, you might think that God is on a particular side of this issue. And so to the radical left, your efforts didn't work and they're not going to work. This is our country and we're taking it back. Let's just recount what has happened over the last 5 or 6 days. On Monday, President Trump was inaugurated and immediately signed an executive order recognizing that biological sex and therefore life begins at conception. On Tuesday, we woke up to the news that the administration had taken down reproductiverights.gov, a ridiculous website launched by the Biden regime. Then Wednesday, we celebrated National Sanctity of Human Life Day and recognized the tragic 52nd anniversary of the Supreme Court's evil decision in Roe v. Wade, which, thank God, is no longer law of the land. And on Thursday, as Kristen mentioned, President Trump issued pardons for 23 of our brothers and sisters that the Biden regime had prosecuted for nothing more than praying. And on Friday, all of you, plus, 600,000 other friends, showed up to March for Life. And then as I was going to bed last night, you were probably still awake and having a great time, we get news that President Trump, of course, once again made it illegal for American taxpayers' hard-earned dollars to fund international abortions. Look, what we do at Heritage is focusing on these public policies and supporting our elected officials who are pro-life leaders to continue to have courage. Of course, we also want to persuade and inspire those who need inspiration to vote right on the issue. And I could spend some time leading the largest conservative public policy organization in the world, which is unabashedly pro-life in everything that it does, talking about all of those things. But instead, I thought I would talk to you as a friend. Some of you look at me and say, well, here's the bald, middle-aged dad talking to me. My kids are probably thinking that right now. But I'm not wagging my finger. These ideas think of as exhortations for all of us. I've seen a lot of speeches at the March for Life over the years. And yesterday had a tremendous number of great speakers. I thought the video message of President Trump summed it up well. But I have never in my life seen a more important message, not just for the March for Life, but for the future of our movement than the one that Vice President J.D. Vance gave. And in particular, the Vice President put his finger on something that is necessary, just definitionally, for the survival of the American Republic. We need more babies. At Heritage, we've dramatically overhauled our HR personnel policies so that men and women don't have to worry about missing work when they are bringing new life into the world. It's called the Heritage Baby Boom. It's pretty awesome, too. And of course, many of you know that one of the things we're trying to do is insert ourselves into this conversation about family policy, about how, as the Vice President touched on yesterday, there can be a proper role for the federal government, state government, local government to make sure that not only do we see our birth rate go up, but that we also see our marriage rate go up. You see, we're always going to fight for the unborn, but the opportunity we have here, and I can't help but think that it's providence, is that God wants us to have this total vision in public policy about how we rebuild this culture of life. I actually think that in your lifetimes, we're going to be able to do that. But what I leave you with, going back to the comment earlier about the advice and the exhortations, is that the only way for us to do that, the only way for us to have success in Washington, D.C. and in your state capitals is for each of us, as Bethany Hamilton just said so well, to live lives of virtue. To be a strong young man who always stands up for the weak and vulnerable. To be a strong young woman. Hey, give the young guys a round of applause. To be the strong young woman who in her school classroom or university lecture hall stands up with clarity, with courage, with eloquence against nonsense. For young couples, not to date for 8 or 9 or 10 years, but to get married. And it's America. Get married and have a bunch of kids. But if that isn't what you're called to do, that's okay, because God has a plan for your life. And so maybe some of you in this room are called to be pastors or priests, or you have vocations to the religious life. We need you focused on those things as well. So when you go back home and you're back in class and you're thinking about what God is calling you to do, know that your fight for the unborn ought to provide the additional grace to fulfill God's vocation for you. And that those of us who have been called to an avocation, which is, as we say at Heritage, to be behind enemy lines in the imperial city of Washington, D.C., we need you in your local communities to do your part. That allows us to do our part. But most of all, the most important thing we can do is remember every day to spend some time in quiet prayer, listening to God about what he's called us to do as individuals, in community, and with the greatest privilege anyone in the history of the world has ever had, which is to wake up and call themselves an American. God bless you.